Okay, guys, we are still in our last unit, Unit 11, and we are almost finished. We are going to still be in packet number 1, and we are on page 40. Just write that at the top here, page 40, in case you can't see it. And today we're going to talk about histograms and bar graphs, okay? So you can see the two pictures here. One is a bar graph, and one is a histogram. And you may have touched upon this last year a little bit with Mr. Robert, okay? So a histogram is a special bar graph that represents data from a frequency table see if I can actually spell, where each bar represents an interval of data and each bar also represents, let's say, frequency. Okay? So again, a histogram is a special bar graph that represents data from a frequency table, where each bar represents an interval of data and each bar also represents frequency. Okay? So if we talk about the similarities and differences, the similarities are really just the appearance, right? They're both bar graphs. Histogram is just a special type of bar graph. Okay? Okay, so their appearance, they're both bar graphs. The differences are that a bar graph, as you can see up here, a straight bar graph, has those little gaps. So it has gaps, and it also has categories. Okay, you can see categories here: US, India, UK, etc. Okay, as opposed to a histogram, where has a number of ranges. Right, there's a range: 1 to 5, 6 to 10, etc. And this is important. There are no gaps. Okay, so for example, if you had 6 to 10, there was 0, you'd still leave that there. There would be no gaps. You just put 6 to 10, and then you just wouldn't have a bar here. Okay, and the other thing to remember is that I would say about 3 to 5 bars is normal. Okay, you're not just gonna have 2 bars. You're gonna make it where your frequency or your intervals are spaced out consistently, and you're gonna have about 3 to 5, more like 4 or 5 bars. Okay, let's go ahead and let's flip to page 41. Okay, page 41. Okay, and we are in example 1. The price in dollars of sandwiches, let me just move this back a little bit. There. The price in dollars of sandwiches at a restaurant are listed below. Make a histogram of the data. Okay, so we're talking about sandwich prices. Okay, so this table right here is just kind of how you can organize yourself, and then you actually put it over on the histogram. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little hint here. Let's see, we have 4 all the way up to, it looks like, 595. Okay, now the important thing to know is that each interval must be consistent. So a consistent like range, if you will. So if I start at 4, because that's my lowest, let's go to $4.99. Okay, and then we're going to go from 5, and we went up, let's see, 4. Oh, sorry. Okay, take a step back. That's not going to actually work because then we'd only have 2 bars. So let's actually go from 4 to 4, let's say 449, because we have a bunch, but not up to 450. Then we're going to go 450 to 499. Okay, then we would go 5 to 549, and then 550 to 599. That should work. Let's see, that's 49 cents each time. Yes, okay, so each of those have to be consistent, okay? Consistent, consistent, consistent. That's the most important thing. Okay, and then we just count the frequency. So from $4 to $4.99, how many of them fall in that range? There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. So it looks like we have 4 sandwich prices that fall between 4 and $4.99. Then we go from $4.50 to $4.99. We have 1, 2, looks like just 2. Okay, from 5 to 549, well, there are none. And then it looks like the sandwiches that range from 550 to 599 are 1, 2, 3, 4 sandwiches. Okay, so that's just the data we collect. Then we're going to come over to our actual histogram. Okay, prices are going to go on the bottom. And then always on this y-axis, if you will, or the up and down, you're going to have your frequency. Okay, so that part's always going to be, let's see if I can spell your frequency. I can't, obviously. There's your frequency. Okay, so that's always frequency. And then it's really important, and I'm a stickler about this, and they are at LT as well. You're going to take out a ruler, okay? And you're going to actually measure. So each one of your intervals are equal to each other. So let's see here what we got. If I can actually measure this thing. Okay, we're at just over 3, and we have to have, we have 4 intervals. Okay, so kind of doing it that way. We're going to have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're pretty darn close, okay? So that's how I'd measure it out. And we're going to go ahead, and we can see from 4 to 449 is our first. We're going to be up. Oh, actually, let's number these first. And if you number, you have to number all the way up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're going to number all the way up. Our first interval from 4 to 449 is 4. So we're going to come over, and we're going to go up to here. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's see if I can get this straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's my first bar, okay? Then we're gonna go over and 450 to 499. Remember, there's no gaps on histograms. So here we're gonna go up to 2. Okay, always make sure, now I'm close, let's see. Okay, there's my next one. Then I have 0. So all I do is I just draw a line like that to show that it's 0. And then, because there's no gaps. Then we have 550 to 599. We have 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to be up here and all the way over. And that's pretty close, okay? So you can see, and if you should shade them all in so you can see where they are, okay? And there is my histogram, okay? Intervals. Make sure, and this is important, there's an equal number of numbers in each interval. Okay? What I mean by that is 4 to 449, then you go 550 or 450 to 499, they have to be equal. Okay? You can't have them uneven. And make sure there's no gaps in the intervals. Okay, that's also really, really important. Okay? What is the shape, center, and spread of the data? Well, let's look here. We can see that we have increased frequency from 4 to 449. So we can write increased frequency at $4 to $4.49, and from $5.50 to $5.99. Okay, let's skip down to the spread or the range for now. So when we're talking about range, we're going to do the highest number, which is $5.95, minus our minimum, which looks like 4. So that's going to give me a range of $1.95. Okay, and then if I take my mean, median, I can't spell, median, and my mode, it doesn't really necessarily tell us much about the prices. All of this, that would, if you were doing this at LT, that's what they would tell you, that it doesn't really necessarily tell you anything about the prices. I would probably say that it looks to be bimodal. Okay, that's what I would say. But either way, it doesn't really tell us much about prices. Okay, let's go on to page, let's go to 42. Okay. Okay, example 2. The number of song requests per day for a 2-week period at a radio station are shown below. Make a histogram of the data. Okay, now remember, we have to have at least, I like to have at least 4 to 5 bars, so 4 to 5 intervals. And the other important thing to remember, and I should have told you this earlier, it doesn't have to start at 0, okay? Which you're going to see here, it doesn't in this data. So here we're talking about the number of songs. let's see what we've got here. I'm going to give you a little hint. Let's see. We start at 10 and we go all the way to, let's see, what do we go up to? 42. So I think I'm going to go by tens. And let's start with I'm going to start with 10. Okay, again, we don't have to start at 0. Each interval has to be the same. And there's no trick to this. I just kind of look and see what the min and max are, and then I try to finagle it so I have an even number of numbers. So let's go 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49. That should hit everything because 42 is my max. 10 is my min. I should get everything in. So let's count the frequency, okay? So 10 to 19, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 that are 10 to 19. Then 20 to 29, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 looks like. Okay, we have 5. 30 to 39, we've got 1, 2, 3. Got 3. And then 40 to 49, looks like we just have 1. Okay, so that's kind of how I broke it up. Now again, I'm going to use my ruler. We're going to have frequency over here. It's always frequency up and down. On the bottom, we have number of songs. Remember this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and again, I want my bars to be even. So let's get out my ruler here. Same, I'm going to go about a third of the way over. I'm off by a little bit on that one. Let's make that over here. Okay, so 10 to 19, we're up 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're up here somewhere. So let's try to make that as straight as possible. I know it's hard, but we're going to go all the way up to 6. Okay, there's my first one. Then my next interval is going to be from 20 to 29. We're at 5. So I'm going to go up to here. Let's see. Okay, there we're at 5. Then we're at 3. So we're going to go over to here, and we're going to go up to here. There's my 3. Now my last one, I'm at 1. So I'm here. Okay, that's pretty even. Not too bad. Okay, now we're going to answer our questions, okay? What is the shape, center, and spread of the data? The shape, well, I hope you guys noticed the tail is to the right. So we're going to have a shape. Oops, let's color those in. Okay, our shape is going to be skewed to the right. And I hope you remember from last week's videos that if you're skewed to the right, that means your mean is greater than your median, okay, which makes sense. There's more, it's going to skew that mean to be greater than the median. Your, sorry, I should have put that at the center. Your spread is going to be your range. And that's going to be your max minus your min. My max was 42. My min was 10. So that's going to be 42 minus 10, which is 32. I would kind of argue that this looks like a half curve, right? Kind of like a half curve there. But that's about all we can really say about this when we're talking about histograms. And then you're going to note that the bar graph uses categories instead of intervals, okay? Because on the histogram, we're on intervals. If we went back to a bar graph, we're using categories. And just make sure that in your bar graph, you have gaps. In your histogram, you do not have gaps, okay? We are on to page 43. Okay, this should be super easy to do. We're on page 43. A survey of 145 people revealed their favorite fruit as represented in the bar graph below. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. This is a bar graph, not a histogram. What is their favorite fruit? Well, you can tell. I hope you see that that's a blueberry. What is the fruit like the least? Well, that's going to be grapes. And how many people chose oranges as their favorite fruit? Looks like about 30. We're going to say about 30 people. Okay, so hopefully you can interpret bar graphs. It's pretty easy and stuff that you've already done in the past, I'm assuming. Let's skip over to page 47. I'm just going to give you a hint on this one. This is actually a homework problem. Okay, we're on page 47. Create a histogram with the following data that represents the cost of a hamburger at 10 restaurants in LaGrange. Okay, so when you look at this, it looks like our lowest price is $2.99, and our highest price is $15. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start at 0 on this one, and I'm going to go up to $3.99. Okay, this is just my hint. Sometimes it's hard to come up with those intervals. You can have yours different if you want, as long as they're even. But this is what I'm going to do: 4 to $7.99, 8 to $11.99, and 12 to what? $15.99. That should put everything falls in there. I want you to do the rest for homework. Okay, and that should be a good start for you, where you can do your own histogram. Okay, if you turn to page, oh, you know what? Turn back to page 46 for a second. Sorry about that. I want you to look at 46 as well. Okay, we're just going to do the top part. I just want to make sure that you see what the shapes look like on these things. Okay, this is kind of a review. Graph A, I hope you see the tail is to the right, so it's skewed right, which means the mean is what? It's greater than the median and mode. Here we have our tail to the left, so we're skewed left, and the mean is less than the median and mode. Okay, and on this last one, I would argue that it's approximately symmetric. Oopsie. You get the idea. And that means mean and median and mode about the same. Okay, we won't worry about that. I just wanted to do a little review with you. And then this video is getting a little long, so I want you to skip to page 48, and we'll end it there. If I can find my page 48, I'm out of order. Okay, page 48. Better write that. Okay, the following bar graph data represents the number of defects in every 1,000 cars manufactured in factory A, B, and C over a 3-year period. So you can see it's like, here is a histogram, here's a histogram, here's a histogram. They put 3 into 1. Okay, what is the shape of the data for factory A over the 3-year period? Okay, let's see. LT would kind of start there and do this. If you read LT, I think their answer would be that it's approximately symmetric. Okay. They would say that it starts with an increase at the beginning. So at beginning, there's an increase. And then, a decrease, I guess, and then decrease over the, 3 years, over the 3-year period. Okay, that's what I'd say. And then for B, in what factory would you want your car built? Well, I would definitely want my car built in factory B, and that's because there's a less number of defects. I mean, that's the biggest reason. And then the other thing you could say is that the number of defects is consistent. Okay? Okay, I think that's plenty for today. Talk to you soon.